This is a show, right? We're doing the show right
Yeah, just keep this in, you know? No. This is a real issue. Oh, edit transform. That's what you said.
You really gonna cut this out? You're not gonna fast forward it?
No, I'm gonna cut it out. You know? I mean, I can fast forward it too.
I say keep it, you know what I mean? This is what the kids want.
Why? Oh, sorry. I kept getting lost.
Oh, there's a lot of milk in me. What?
Alright, it's fixed. Look good?
It's not fixed.
I just fixed it.
You sure?
100%. I just copy and pasted.
Both the numbers?
No, not both the numbers. If I
First
copied both the numbers, you'd be behind me.
You're a smart cookie. You got me.
So, I mean...
Alright. I guess we're even.
We should be. What's throwing you off about that?
It looks lower. It's the lines on your wallpaper. Maybe they're not even.
Welcome to Tech Fever, Play Everything's Weekly Tech Podcast, where we come to you every week to talk about the tech... Loud. Oh. I hate you so much. Are you messing with me?
No, I mean, you are a little loud, but I'm definitely messing with you. You know what I mean?
And this is what it's resulted to, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it's resulted to. Going virtual, and I hate virtual podcasts usually. But this week's episode, we're talking all about podcasting from home. I'm going to talk about kind of my in-studio stuff for when this is over, and you can actually build out a little set on your end. And then Kevin will be talking about, we'll both be kind of talking about the actual virtual aspect. Again, I don't usually do the virtual podcasts. I don't like them. There's usually a delay. But I found this way to be probably the most effective way I've seen done. Especially with what you guys are doing at Kind of Funny right now. I think it works really, really well. Whereas usually there is like that delay that you get over on Skype, or like you see these other people trying to do this like virtual setup, and it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many different platforms that you can use, and they each have their problems. Right now we're using Discord. Correct. And so far it's my favorite.
Correct. And now you are super pixelated for anybody who's watching, who's not listening to this on podcast.
I have a feeling that that's actually the internet on my end.
Yeah.
Even though I have really solid numbers.
I mean, yeah. I mean, before you said, not your internet problem. So,
yeah, but that was just me being an asshole.
No, yeah, I know.
While we were talking, now that like we're talking to the kids and we're trying to explain why we're having issues, because I've seen that like kind of consistently it's been pretty when we stream stuff, and then the last 2 days I've been having some issues where it looks pixelated.
Yeah.
So on Sunday we recorded something. I don't know if it's live or not, it doesn't matter, but we cut the stream and we cut Discord and started going again, and it looked nice for like 30 minutes. Then it went ugly again. So I think just, I don't know, maybe Discord's not used to having such a big load in it.
Probably. that might be the case, as one might assume. So normally, like right now I'm coming up crystal clear. You guys are all usually pretty clear. So this isn't a consistent issue.
You look
That's why
crystal clear on your end because it's your end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even on your guys', you guys look fine.
Like if I click on my image, I look pretty I mean, it still looks grainy, but it's not terrible.
But anyway, this is not.
But I think it also looks grainy because I am I'm not just sending my webcam. I'm actually sending my OBS feed, so I can do stuff like this, and kind of. Oh, I'm cut out a little bit. Can you see me? There you go.
Want me to switch over? Want me to switch to the cam?
No. It's fine. Switch back to this guy here.
No, but
I'm just saying that's one of the reasons why I'm compressed. I'm not used to this level of shenanigans.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, so I mean, how have you been doing with the? So, like I said, yeah, that's what all this podcast is going to be about today. Podcasting from home, whether it be in person or through the internet. Obviously, why this apocalypse is going on, it is all going to be through the internet. How do you feel the transition has been going from in studio, having all these all this nice, very expensive equipment to make things run smoothly, and then now you are stuck to OBS, which everybody really despises at points, and then just running everything through the internet.
So we were really smart about things, and to the credit of everyone except for me, I was like, guys, things gonna be fine. Like we had a conversation, I think Thursday before everything went down, and they announced the shelter in place, and the guys were basically like, oh, we should start prepping for it. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think that
You're
there's
like,
a need
guys,
for
it's
that.
just the flu.
No, I mean, it wasn't that, but it was like, I don't think that they're going to enforce the shelter in place thing. And I don't think at this point that being that we don't interact with that many people, we kind of just interact with kind of funny people just because that's our day to day is just hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, I don't know if we have to start prepping for this. But everyone that Friday was like, hey, we should start prepping. And so we took a bunch of equipment home and prepped everything during that weekend. And lo and behold, I think it was that Monday, they announced that like, hey, shelter in place is going to be implemented this week. But at that point, we had tested everything out already. So we knew everything that we had taken with us worked. So it was like, oh, we'll just stay home then.
Yeah.
We'll start the shelter in place now.
Which is really interesting to me because, I mean, media is exempt from that. Like, media, you could technically...
Right.
Still
but
run.
I mean, I think part of it is also like we wanted to set an example for like our, the kind of groups that are similar to us.
Yeah.
That like, kind of like, hey, we all should be taking this seriously.
Well, and to your credit too,
interacting with these 10 people.
If you can do it from home, you'll do it from home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's no, because I mean, what Greg and Barrett still take public transit. So that's up until literally yesterday, public transit was still running in the Bay Area. Now in San Francisco, the Muni has reduced its line significantly, and we've got what is it? There's a lot less options, and it is very much like only take it if you have to.
Yeah,
like the signs all say that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we wanted to try to help with the curve that way. And the first 2 days, we did audio only because the whole garbage truck on fire. The guys were scared that like adding video components to it would be too much. Did the lower thirds just go on their own?
Yeah. Well, no, I did that.
Oh, okay,
I'm producing a show here,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Running a tight ship. Real quick, can you click off on the gray part on OBS for me?
Click off on the gray part.
You got the red box. There you go.
Okay, well there it is. Thank you. I didn't see it on your screen.
I mean, I saw
it popping up.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, well we took care of it. So yeah, it was. We initially were using an app called Zencastr. Is it a website? You heard of this Zencastr?
No.
It basically like records high quality audio to whatever computer you're using, and then uploads everything to a Google Drive and sends you the link with everything. So once you're done doing the podcast, you essentially get however many people were on there. You get their own separate audio files, and you get one master with everyone's on it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was really good, and like the quality was pretty good for the fact that we're all using these Yeti mics.
Yeah.
But it didn't, like, we had to find a solution to bring video back because I feel like we're a very visual group.
Yeah.
And that's when we were throwing around, what are we going to use? Discord or Skype or whatever the other
Zoom.
options were. Yeah, everyone loves Zoom right now.
Yeah.
But we ended up trying out Discord and being like, holy shit, this works super smoothly.
I'm surprised when you were like, oh, let's do it through like Discord, right? I was like, does Discord even do like video? Like it's just so not known. I feel like not a lot of people are using it during this time because I feel like not a lot of people know about that feature.
Yeah, because it's mostly for voice calls, and it like there are some issues. I've noticed that if you have more than 5 people on a call, so at 6 people, you get visual distortion, like we're seeing now.
Yeah,
where my camera doesn't look good.
Yeah,
that's literally a problem we discovered. Like, we became pretty sure of today. We were recording another Gamescast episode that won't be live for a couple days, and it caused, like, we had 6 people on there, and 3 of the cameras started going pixely, like getting all pixely, and as soon as one person jumped off, it went back to crystal clear.
Yeah, well, and which sucks too because you could have 5 people, and then you have you on your little producing, like where you're pulling things up, things like that. So that seems to be an issue. But for the quality, first of all, you can actually control the bit rate of the audio, which is actually really handy through Discord. I feel like it runs really well, and like I said, from everything I've seen from you guys, I feel like this is probably the most effective way of doing in-home podcasts. So if you're out there and you want to start your own podcast, or
keep your podcast going.
Yeah, or keep your podcast going. But the big thing is I always hear... Yeah, like Tech Fever, you know? I always hear the adage of, which was my excuse for the longest time too, is when I was doing the channel solo, I was like, man, I don't have anybody. And then like I would try to do the virtual podcast and I hated it just because, you know, like I said in the beginning, the delay, it just didn't look good. I wasn't able to do this kind of like background and like be able to have as much control over it as I do through OBS and using Discord. So, I mean, now's the best time to start it, you know, especially if, you know, you're out of the job right now, you want to focus on a passion project. This makes it doable if you have a friend that is, you know, across the country or, you know, live somewhere else, which again, I think this is a really effective way of doing the podcast over the internet. Now,
absolutely.
I kind of want to talk to you about, like getting started, right? So obviously our setups, are probably about the same right now. I was planning on using the soundboard, but yesterday when we were doing invite only, I had a little issue with the soundboard that I got to troubleshoot this weekend. So I'm using a Yeti mic, the 1080p Logitech cam. Sorry, I don't know the actual model.
The C920 or C930 or C922.
Yeah.
There's 3 different models that all have the same body type. The Brio is the 4K one.
Yeah, so I believe it's the C930. Actually, I can pull it up right here.
It might be the C922, which is like their weird halfway upgrade model.
C922, yeah. Correct. How did you know? How'd you know? You're good.
I mean, I know these products. There's not that many choices.
Look,
great webcams.
That's what I'm running just to get my signal across, right? But
you know, you could have used your Aver with the C300.
The 100, yeah.
Or C100,
I wish it was a
300. Mark II, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could have done that and had amazing video quality. I can't even imagine what does the depth of field look like.
I mean, I don't have great depth of field on that one.
Don't you have the Canon lenses?
Yes, I do. I feel like I don't have great depth of field.
Yeah, but
I would have to adjust things.
No, but I'm saying you're shooting wide there.
Yeah.
Right? You're shooting, it's not wide, but there's a 10-foot throw in front of the camera.
Yeah.
If the camera is 4 feet away from you,
yeah,
and you've set the focus to your face, like the background's going to be moirang. And I think it would look really cool.
I was looking at that. That's a question for people. So if you have a camera that you want to use for this, that's not just a webcam, right? That's a question. You're able to use that through a game capture as a webcam for Discord. It will read that. Discord will read that.
Yes.
Positive.
You can go in there. You can go in there. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, because
I have a thing I can play. Yeah, no, yeah, because Gary Widow was playing some game during our Discord call, and he had to switch over the screens.
Got it. So that's good to know.
Also, I know for a fact that Fran Mirabella III uses. Hold on, sorry. Oh, that's funny. He's playing right now. Can you switch over to my screen, Big?
KevCam. Going to KevCam.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I'm gonna switch over here, and then, god damn it, it's so pixelated. You can't actually tell. If you go to FM3, you can see how crystal clear his screen is.
Yeah.
Why don't you actually? Do you have a desktop? You can switch back.
Yeah. Where am I? What is he on Twitter? Where is he streaming? You know what I mean?
Twitch.tv/FM3_. His setup is the most interesting because he's and I don't watch Twitch too much, but he's the only person I know that uses he uses a Sony A something, the shutterless, is that shutterless, is that mirrorless Sony.
Okay, hold on, give me a second.
You see it? You see how crystal clear his face is?
Give me a second.
He punches in a little too much. But, that's some criticism I've told him.
No, I mean, yeah, so you said he uses that through game capture?
Oh, you probably don't want to show it while we're doing it's a trailer.
There we go. There you go.
He's cropped out of my thing. If you can see it, that's fine.
Sorry. Again, this is still on the fly kind of stuff we doing.
The quality isn't great on here, but like you could probably see how
the people
nice
the people on our side are able to see how good this looks.
So he's not using one of these Logitech cameras. He's using a legit mirrorless camera, a DSLR. Well, they're not DSLRs anymore.
Yeah, the Sony, one of the Sony ones.
Yeah, you can actually you can take this off. Yeah, there it is.
That's what I was gonna.
And that's what you're gonna get if you use a better camera system and a video capture device like an Aver or Elgato.
So it
looks significantly better.
All this stuff is super simple to set up once you start doing it. I know when we started setting up for what we do in studio here through the soundboard and then having the actual the camera run into OBS through a game capture. Game captures are your best friend if you're trying to do anything like this. To be honest, that's been the easiest one to find out or get that signal into OBS and actually use professional grade equipment if you want to do that. If not, the simple Logitech webcam works fine for me. I mean, you can see it now; it looks pretty good. So setting that all up, and then obviously in terms of like lower thirds, things like that, if you have the subscription to like Adobe Creative Cloud, you can really make lower thirds. It's super easy to learn. I actually learned mine.
Is it easy? I've had a lot of problems learning After Effects.
Lower thirds, to be honest, are like the easiest. Like that's like the starter thing in After Effects. Like to me, that is the thing to kind of dip your toe in to where it's easy enough to understand and follow through like a YouTube tutorial, and then you can start getting creative with it. Just like on if you look at invite only, those lower thirds are pretty intricate in terms of like how they actually work, and I'm pretty proud of those, right? But something like this one, another option to go is the lower thirds that we actually use for TechFever. I actually use this website called Motion Array just because we started this podcast super fast and I wanted something a little bit more digital look to the lower thirds that I couldn't do. It's past my skill level at this point. Motion Array I think is like $15 a month, and you have $20 a month, and you have access to all these plugins, all these templates, essentially on After Effects, Premiere, all this crazy stuff, right? So even if you don't have the talent or don't have the time to be able to do your own lower thirds, that is a great way to do it.
And then what's I think absolutely insane is that now OBS allows you to use these lower thirds on the fly at the press of a button or the press of a click without needing a different machine. Oh, there you go. You had it go and intro go. And that's just insane. There was a time where being able to do these graphics meant you had to buy a $30,000 machine, and we're past that point, and it's wild. Like Kind of Funny does something that like I kind of developed, which I think is fucking brilliant to change lower thirds on the fly. We have and like to integrate it into our system without using this $30,000 machine. We have another computer running.
Yeah.
It outputs video to a second screen that doesn't exist. That's actually plugged into our system on a layer of green, and then we key the green out, so we can have like moving graphics happen. But we can force that to go through our like expensive system that records things in much higher quality than OBS does.
And you're running off a second computer, and it doesn't take up that processing power from the computer.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Not that this computer has any problem with processing power. This thing's a beast. I love it.
Just freeing it up, especially on how complex some graphics can get.
Absolutely.
Now, so if you're looking at doing like lower thirds, things like that, there are definitely alternatives out there to kind of get that all in place. Now, another thing I recommend if you're doing a in-home or a podcast through the internet or through OBS at any point, whether it be live or through the internet, I do recommend doing a Corsair keyboard with the actual Stream Deck keys on the side, the G keys, but they're also syncable with the Stream Deck software, Elgato, where you can actually, so we had this running before today where basically Tombo would just press a button and it would pull up lower thirds, and he pressed another button and would pull up, the intro, or we'll cut it back to the thanks for watching for the live streams, right? You actually showed me something today where you can actually program it to where you can start the intro, start recording, do the first lower thirds, do the second lower thirds, all in one key, which to me was, I didn't know that, and that's why I always like hanging around you or having you around and being able to talk with you, because I feel like I always learn something like that where you are able to kind of do them all at once. So it just makes it super useful. Or a Stream Deck itself, if you do multiple shows and you need it. To me, I feel like just the keyboard gets it done for right now. But yeah, so that's another thing I would recommend. It makes it nice and easy where you just have to press a button and it starts everything, does the lower thirds, and then you can have another button where throughout the show you can keep clicking. You don't have to keep pressing into OBS, dropping lower thirds, things like that.
Yeah. To talk a little bit about the Stream Deck and how amazing it is, because like I said earlier, we've been using the Stream Deck to run all our lower thirds at Kind of Funny and any of our graphics packages. So for some of the sketches we've done in KFAF, we've for our winter special, we made it like snow, and that was all using the Stream Deck and a different computer. But we've never actually used the Stream Deck to control OBS, the OBS that we actually stream out. And man, what a game changer it is to actually have access to that. Some of the builds that I've made are extremely complicated with something 13 different steps that happen, but they're pretty well fine-tuned. There's still some problems while I'll open something and something's open, and somewhere in my chain it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But it is crazy how with the press of one button I can have like you said, the intro run, the lower thirds, it starts recording. Everything can be just preset and done.
Start streaming and recording. Yeah. If you're doing yours live, it just makes it super super helpful. And you get about 6 keys on those keyboards. 5 keys? No, 6 keys. Yeah, 6 keys on those keyboards. So I mean that's going to be more than enough for a lot of people. Just depending unless you do a lot of shows.
Yeah. Also, the Stream Deck itself has 15 buttons on it, but it also gives you the ability to make folders out of those buttons. So I have, let's see, right now it's 11 folders, and each one has another 14 buttons inside, which can be folders. So you're allowed to stack so much.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's just another piece of equipment I'd say is probably a must if you're looking to run. If you're looking to run graphics, it makes it easier, and honestly,
easier.
Yeah, at this point. And then if you don't have a mechanical keyboard, get a keyboard. Get one.
Clicky buttons?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then get one with the Stream Deck keys. Now, the actual what do they call it? The Stream Decks. Probably not a necessity. I would say a good keyboard is a necessity anyway, so might as well double dip and get the ones with the stream keys on it. You good?
Yeah, sorry. I clicked something. I want to see how much they cost because I don't know. And I know that they sell a larger one. Now, the problem with mechanical keyboards is you hear every click.
Which for production's probably not the best.
No, it's not good. Fortunately, I don't have to talk.
Yeah.
Most of the time that I'm doing stuff. So the Stream Deck, $129. And there's also Stream Deck XL. Let me see where that is. Which is an even bigger Stream Deck.
Yeah.
$233 with 32 buttons.
That's a lot of buttons, man. A lot of buttons.
A lot of buttons. It's cool though.
Yes.
Really, really cool.
You gonna buy it right now?
No. I'm honestly, 15 buttons is way more than I need.
So
look at it, it's so cool.
If they're gonna be starting
they have
this
6-key button for $100 too. That's cool.
I mean, $30 more though, you know?
Yeah, but like 6 keys doesn't sound like a lot. But again, those 6 can be folders.
Yeah.
And then you've got 5 keys that you can play within each folder. And from there, you can have 2 folders in that. It's just a lot of stuff. Like, you can really make those 6 keys go really far.
Yeah,
but you're right.
Farther than you could on the actual keyboard as well, because you can't stack. There's no folders that you can do.
Right.
Now, again, you were kind of the guru that I kind of look to when I have any kind of issue, for best or for worse. What does
that mean?
Because a lot of times I feel bad because you're like, God, this guy is incompetent.
No,
like,
I see. You're always so apologetic when you're asking like about stuff, and you don't have to be. Everyone everyone has to start from zero when it comes to these things. When it comes to all things, really, when you're learning stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there's always a point where you don't know, and like no one knows. You know, they have to learn. So it's like, don't feel bad that you're asking me questions. I've had to also learn, and I would have loved to have more people to ask.
We're just thrown in there to the deep end.
You have questions, let me know, and I'm more than happy to figure out solutions together. Because that's another thing. When you're teching stuff out with someone for a problem they have, that gives me an opportunity to learn stuff too. You know?
Yeah. No, I remember when I was trying to run it through the game capture again to get everything running through OBS, we had that game capture issue where it kept coming out grainy on OBS, which was fun. But digressing past that, right? I don't know where you kind of want to take it from here in terms of, I don't know if you want to kind of show kind of how you have it set up. I don't know if you want to do that.
Yeah, I can show you all the steps and kind of a deeper dive into my Stream Deck.
Which you were like, do people really want this? I'm sure there are people out there. Again, if you're watching this episode, this is all about how from doing this from home. I'm sure there are people who are like, because I find it fascinating, right? Seeing how everybody has it kind of set up for themselves. Right. Now I'll switch over your camera in a second. Okay. As far as the video quality, again, we apologize. It is going to be a little grainy.
There's a lot of compression going on.
We'll figure that out eventually, you know. But
I don't know that this has a practical solution if I want to keep myself in the video.
Yeah.
And I always think it's not as fun when it's just my screen.
No, it's not. But also, which is weird because the desktop shouldn't be coming up graining too. Anyway, I don't want to get into the troubleshooting. Well, again, I don't think it's just your camera.
Discord's probably getting a lot more attention than they are usually able to handle.
Yeah.
With high bandwidth.
So I'm going to switch over to your camera.
Sounds good.
Ooh.
That's not my camera.
Oh, no, that's... Why?
Nope.
All right.
See, you left it on. You left the lower thirds on.
Yeah, I did. My bad. Hold on.
No, it's okay. You don't do bad. I feel bad. No,
I'm trying to figure it out because why did it do that? It took... Give me a second.
You clicking on KevCam?
There we go.
Oh, it switched windows?
Yeah, for some reason... Okay, so here we go. Oh, no.
All right. All right. So I'm gonna switch over to my camera and my desktop. So super nice and grainy. Oh, there's a lot of gray. You might want to crop that out.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was
There it
working
is.
on
There
that.
it
I
is.
was working on that, Big Kev. Don't worry. I'm producing. You
No
know what I
worries.
mean?
Yeah. So right now I just on the fly created. Here we go. Here, these are my folders that I have. I just created Tech Fever. It's very simple. With one button, I can switch over to my face or my face and the desktop. This is my middle monitor. I have 3 of them in total because I need to record a bunch of different stuff for kind of funny streams. Let's go into this one right here is KFGD, the top left. I left my mouse visible. Yeah, right here, KFGD. So if we go into that, we can see that I have standby and mute, video podcast, intro, then video podcast, a recording button. Yeah. We have several selections of KevCam.
Yeah.
That's a folder there. We also have names. The names is lower thirds. And then a couple more options that switch back to just cam, go to ads, switch to cam with browser. So just cam is like the normal screen where we have 2 people on there and the background is set. Go to ads is whoever is hosting will be the only person on the screen. That way, when someone's reading an ad, the other person can feel less awkward just kind of sitting there staring into nothing. And then we also have the switch to cam with browser, and that's where we capture the right monitor here, so that if they want to watch a trailer or something, we can pull that up on the fly.
Yeah. Which, again, if you haven't seen, I doubt that the people watching haven't seen Kind of Funny's content recently, but go watch it just to see how it's, like, how masterfully they kind of have it out, how well Kevin's running the ship in terms of being able to pull up trailers, being able to operate. It's almost like they are in studio.
Yeah, it's pretty wild what we can do with all the tools that we have.
Yeah, with technology, man. That's what we're all about here at Tech Fever. That's why we got the fever.
That is true.
Do you want to open up your OBS?
I think that, let me see what happens when let me click one of these buttons, because right now if I click into it, how it's made, you see that? Here
got it. Mm-hmm.
So they're multi actions, right? So the first one is it brings up the loop that plays in the background, and then we have kill any record that's happening, right?
Yeah.
Then bring up the standby video, and then I believe this is a duplicate. This doesn't need to exist because this is literally the same thing.
Yeah.
But again, I'm constantly tweaking. Now, something that OBS does that I don't understand is it gives you 2 options when the button's grayed out and when the button is lit up. I don't feel like we need those. It could just, because really, like, it won't let me change it. Like, I can't make this one deactivate it.
Interesting.
Maybe I can. Yeah. Maybe I can. Hold on. Oh, I guess I can. You learn something new every day. But then it's tricky because then is the button live or not? Anyways, and then we have it switching scenes. So now it's going to the standby window. I have it killing the morning show audio. I have it killing the desktop audio and then the God mic. God mic is the mic that I'm using.
Yeah,
that's just a term that you do for whenever the control room has a mic.
Yeah.
So now I'm actually going to play this so you can kind of see what this looks like when you press the button and these 8 commands go in sequence.
Yeah. So there's the intro we know. Usually
you can see it, right? Yeah. There's the intro you know. You can't hear the audio because I've turned that off. If I go to advanced settings, I can monitor and output, and now you'd be able to hear it as well.
Yeah.
So I find it annoying to just have this audio going. So I have it set to monitor off. But when the guys are when we're on standby, what I'll usually do is play that, and then they can kind of hear it and understand that, like, oh, hey, we're going to go into a preview soon, or like it's going to start. We're on our
wait, did you do it?
Window. What?
It just went, it stayed on the pre-show.
It stayed on the pre-show.
Yeah, the graphic. It didn't actually play out. Never mind.
Wait, so you want? Are you saying you want to see the other ones?
No, never mind. Sorry. I realized that didn't make sense.
Okay, no
Because
worries.
it's
No
not
worries.
set up right now because not everybody's in there. If that makes sense. Never mind. You're good.
Sure. And then yeah, the other two basic and the intro then video podcast, which is the most complicated one. You can see it's got a tremendous amount of steps. Some of the steps involve turning off like the actually it turns off the intro at the end of it. It's supposed to be self-sufficient, so if I press this button, it turns everything on and then it turns everything off, so that when I go back to the standby one and then click on to another scene that I've created, it doesn't fumble everywhere. But yeah, there's a lot of components to this part
Yeah.
where we have all the different stuff. There's delays. What do we have there? So that switches to the podcast scene, the podcast setup, what I called it, where the intros play. Then we have 2 seconds of black before all of our intros to allow time for like a physical person to hit the record button, because we don't use the stream decks for this at Kind of Funny. In the future, I don't know if we're going to implement them, but like it does make it a lot easier to just press one button.
I would imagine you would.
We'll see, because that's a lot of stream decks to have, because we still have to have a stream deck that runs the
Graphics, yeah.
lower third, the graphics separately. And as far as I know, there's no way to get a stream deck to control another stream deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if there was, we'd do it. Anyways, starts recording. Each intro is a different time, so I have to go in there and look at how long the video is and the delay, so that the next steps don't just immediately start happening. So, for instance, the intro for Games Daily is about 6 seconds. So I put a delay of, I've noticed that just 300 milliseconds off makes it kind of feel perfect.
Yeah.
Or else it just feels like you're sitting on black for a fraction of a second, but it just doesn't look great. And then I have the overlays that kind of surround the screen of the guys.
Yeah.
We've got the background loop that plays, the left monitor, the right monitor. So this would be whoever's hosting on this one, and then whoever's guesting on this one. And again, those are just screens that have been pre-cropped. It's just turning them on and off. And then we switch over to this scene that all these changes have happened in. So it's really cool. You can have changes happen in a scene without having that scene directly open.
Yeah, what I like about OBS too is once you have it set up, you're kind of set to go. So that's another thing where you're probably gonna have to YouTube a couple things. You're probably gonna have to experiment, play around with a couple things. But once you get it set, you are set to like just hit the ground running and keep it going. You don't have to keep going back in and changing things and adjusting things. And again, OBS is free. It's crazy that what we're able to do with technology, with the power of the internet right now.
Mm-hmm. The last couple of buttons that I have going on here is I actually have the mics muted in standby. So this brings up the mics after the intro is played. So that way, if someone talks during the intro, it doesn't actually record that, which is something we should have added to your setup.
Yeah.
We could have started with muting the two mics, and then at the end, unmute them so that, it doesn't, like, we don't have to like sit there trying to whisper or not talk during the intro.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is kill the intro. So this turns off the intro so it doesn't automatically turn itself back on, which sometimes happens.
Anything else you want to show real quick?
I can show you guys the name, which is our lower thirds, because it's very simple. There's the main hosts of the show, and inside, there it is. It's just their little names, bars, and I click them. I don't know. It won't work now because I'm not set to the right screen. But yeah, those are really simple. Let me see if there's anything else that'd be relevant. I also have another button here that is the same thing, but as the intro then video podcast, but it doesn't have the intro or the recording key. So if I want to just, I can press it, see, and it switches over.
Yeah.
It's doing a infinite monitor repeat thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow, it looks like crap here. But you can see, look at my mouse repeating. You can see this side here would be where the host would be, and then the right side would be where our guest is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. There is just a lot of testing. Wait, hold on, sorry.
No, you're good.
Just me. There it is. So there's just a lot of testing. So just be prepared to try it out and slowly build it and be like, okay, it's perfect. And then I create an end screen for the non-game related morning shows, and that has to trigger all these other things to turn off. And that took forever, going back and forth of like, oh, this got left on, so I'm gonna add it to this this button. Make sure kill this music intro key, and each one is different per day.
Yeah,
it's pretty wild. There's just so many steps involved. But if you sit there and are teching it out and looking at like all the changes that you've made in between them, eventually it's all going to make sense and it'll work perfectly.
Yeah. So any advice to anybody out there who's trying to keep their podcast going now or is going to be starting one? Geez, there's a lot of free times on a lot of people's hands.
Yeah. Well, my main advice is like, dude, all this shit is possible. Like, go there, have fun, do it, and just keep trying. None of this is easy. There's not a lot of great answers out there, but like you will figure it out. You just got to keep forcing yourself to work it out.
Now, if you have a computer already, it will probably cost $200, $250 to really get started, like with the bare necessities on all this. And then there's a lot that you can kind of make it look pretty with the OBS, like playing around with backgrounds, things like this. Yeah, I mean, that's what's crazy. And then again, Discord, great way to actually utilize really good audio. And then again, the video feature. Now, I did reach out. I did have one person respond. I wanted to know what people's setups were for if they're doing this at home. So we have Alfonso Ariello. I butchered that last name. What's up, guys? It's Fonz from Plastic Hearts Podcast. By the way, if you haven't seen their stuff actually looks really good with what they're doing from home. Since recording remotely, I use a Logitech HD Pro webcam C920, Audio Technica AT2020 mic, all set to OBS. I use Skype with the same setup in another podcast as well. Either way, recording remote and compiling in post is essential, as these video chat apps always condense audio pretty bad. Cheers, guys, and great show. Love when you get balls deep in that tech. Jesus. It's a great way to put it, you know?
Yeah, it's a great way of putting it. He brings up an interesting point, which is the recording everything. It's not doing stuff live.
Yeah.
Because recording everything, like obviously this would look a lot better if we both had recorded our webcams and I sent that over and then you just kind of put it together in post, but then it requires a lot of post work.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons there where definitely pre-recording stuff is going to look a million times better. It's going to be a tighter edit. But
and I love OBS, and that's why, because we used to do that here at Play Everything, where we would take the audio, take the video, again, not remotely, but we would still in post kind of put it all together and do all that stuff separately and then kind of combine it in post. But to be honest, I feel like our quality didn't drop when we switched to OBS at all, and especially since we're doing local recording and even the streaming. And all I had to do was get a game capture really to be able to kind of tie it all in together. I already had a USB audio board. Now, yeah, I feel like Discord, like I said, since you control the actual bit rate of audio, I feel like it doesn't condense it as bad as something like Skype. Now, there are people that I'm seeing use Skype, and it is a disaster. Like Rogan, on his remote podcast he's actually using Skype, and I feel like that's just a terrible way to actually get good audio back, because like I said, to me, I feel like if you had or the other person had a good mic, I feel like it doesn't have that Skype sound, you know what I mean? Like even right now, you kind of sound like you have a little bit of a Skype sound, but it's not. It's barely noticeable.
Nearly as bad, yeah.
Yeah. So
also, I haven't messed with the settings of my audio recording, so like our audio, I didn't know you could change the bitrate.
Yeah,
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so you can actually change the bitrate, which was really cool. When I was looking around
this, in the settings,
we were doing that. I would actually have to go back and look. Right now, and I'll send it to you. But
I mean, I'm already looking.
It's not compelling, Kevin.
Audio, no, but I'm not listening. Like they don't know I'm looking.
Well, I can't even do it right now because I can't minimize you. Otherwise,
no one can minimize me. I'm unminimizable.
But yeah, so thankfully Discord is away, and thankfully you showed me that. Because again, before I have used Google Hangouts or I have used Skype, and I feel like the audio quality is just not there.
Yeah, it's just not there at all. The Zencastr had really good audio.
Now, is that just recording with Zencastr?
Yeah.
There's no way to actually tie that into OBS? Because if you were able to tie that into OBS...
No, sorry. I closed... Hold on. You still see me?
Yeah, I still see you.
Okay, I closed Discord. It's interesting that you can't... Like, closing Discord doesn't stop Discord. Discord just keeps going. You know what I mean?
Can't stop it. Can't keep it down.
Why would you want to? Sorry, you were saying, can we tie that into the system? Yes. Yeah. Because the way OBS works, any incoming audio will just go through your desktop, which means you can bring in a desktop source.
So theoretically, why wouldn't you use that as your audio?
It just creates one more step and one more thing that we have to worry about.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you're looking to get the best possible audio, that could be a way to go. Is you can actually tie in Zencastr if you're unhappy with Discord's audio. But again, I don't think it's bad at all. But if you were to be like, it's unbearable.
Also, I don't know what kind of sync issues would come up. I would imagine there are going to be some sync issues.
Yeah, but you can fix that in OBS.
Yeah. But again, that's more trial and error. That like, when we were trying to figure out video, we were like, let's just ignore this problem for now and use the Discord audio.
Yeah. But yeah, all fixable in OBS. Works. So versatile. I can't believe OBS is free, man.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. What a great program. It's hard and gross to use, but I really like it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely not the most streamlined thing. Intuitive, not the easiest thing. It's like a PC versus a Mac, it's more of a PC.
Well, I mean, if you mean it works and it's affordable. Yeah.
I mean, is there anything else you want to add before I kind of wrap this up? I know we did go a little bit long today.
Did we?
Yeah.
Did we go long?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea.
I think we're over an hour. Yeah. I know you got things to do. But
I'm just tired. I'm going to go home and sleep. I'm going to go to bed and sleep.
Yeah, go home and sleep. Drive all the way across the bridge.
Yeah. No traffic today.
So I mean, obviously, as we keep Tech Fever going, I'm sure we will be adding if there's anything that we found that works better for us, or any tips and tricks that we just found or need to add. We will keep that going. As far as the show, I'm not entirely sure if we'll keep it news or if we'll keep it topical. We'll see why we're doing this, and obviously things will change.
About some news. You want to get into the news real quick?
I honestly, I didn't.
I'm so tired.
You're good. Thanks for doing this, Kev. I really appreciate you. I'm glad we actually were able to get this working. Why we have to be quarantined apart.
It's so hard.
I know. But yeah, so if you have any questions for the show, you can send them in to techfeverpodcast@gmail.com. Send them in. Now is the time. We will be answering everything that comes in that inbox for the most part. So go ahead and send them in there as we continue the show on as usual. If you have any best tips or tricks or your setups, send them in. I want to hear about them. Comment down below on the video as well. You can do all that stuff down below. Let people know. I'd like to see it in the comments. I'd like to jump in there with you. Like, subscribe, share, all that usual stuff. It helps us get in the algorithm, helps us get noticed. What else do I have to add? Oh, yeah. Audio podcast. Sorry, I haven't done the show in a minute. No. All audio podcasts, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go subscribe there. Rate, please. It helps us get in the algorithm. Once again, helps us get noticed. Kevin Coello, thank you for joining me again. You can follow Kevin Coello at Kinda Funny Kevin. You can follow me at Cheeks_Junior on Twitter. And for all your tech news, right here on Tech Fever, we got you because we got the fever.
We do. We've got it. And so will you.